That's gonna be fun. Beautiful, beautiful. Hey, Danny, it's not that you didn't look good before, you just look more handsome dressed up. That's all it was. Where did he go? Where did he go? There he is. Yeah. Good man, good man. Guys, first off, thank you so much for having me. I wanted to say thank you to all the Apex, Stewman. Is Jose in here? Oh boy, Jose in here? Nah, not yet, huh? He'll be in here in a little bit. So thank you guys for the opportunity. Thank you to the man upstairs giving me the opportunity to share some things with you guys today. Um, I was driving in and we got some roofers in here, huh? I saw these big ass trucks outside. I got a lifted truck too. Who's a roofer in here? We got some roofers. Okay, we got a handful. Okay, beautiful. So guys, I'm not like a really big motivational speaker. However, I am interested in dropping you guys some game. My intention here today is maybe give you a nugget or two to help you take, essentially take yourself from working in your business to on your business. I'm gonna give you a little bit of my background so you know where I come from, what I've done, and I'll make that super brief because this isn't about me, this is more about you guys. I've got a slideshow for you guys as well. Again, my intention is super clear. I wanna leave each and every single person with at least one nugget today. Is that cool? Okay, excellent. So my background, Danny mentioned it a little bit. I was in the fitness industry. I was in the industry for 10 years, and I started off as an entry-level sales guy. So essentially what we did is we went out, we'd go talk to people at Walmart, at the Smoothie King, and we tell them to come and check out the gym. That's where I started. Became an assistant manager, general manager, district manager, a district vice president, and then ultimately, I was blessed to have the ability to become an executive vice president at LA Fitness. You guys have heard of them, right? They're a monster chain, and I learned a gazillion things from there. When I first started there was about 350 clubs. By the time I left, there was almost 1,000. So I learned a lot in the process there, and I'm going to share some of those nuggets with you guys today. Was anyone else in the fitness industry at all? We got any fitness industry? Okay, nice. We got a few people. Anyone that was at LA Fitness? Oh, shit, just me. Okay, cool. Tony's in there. Yeah, Travis, you were there too. Okay, beautiful. So just so you guys know, it's not what you think it is, right? Working at LA Fitness specifically, it's insane. It is the Navy SEALs of the fitness world. And let me tell you what I mean. That's no disrespect to the SEALs because those are obviously top tier individuals. But it was daily accountability. It was daily numbers. You're getting yelled at, you're getting cussed out, you're getting screamed at, especially if you miss your number. You're working 6 days a week. I was there for 10 years. I didn't take a Saturday off until I started up my own business. It was just absolutely insane. We worked every single day of the year besides Christmas Day. We worked Christmas Eve, New Year's Day, Thanksgiving Eve, Thanksgiving Day, and the list goes on. So that's kind of the background that I come from. August 20th of 2019, I get on a phone call, I get on a three-way call. It's the CFO, it's the COO, and they're like, hey, Kaiser, we got a couple questions for you. We saw that, you started up a roofing company. What's going on with that? And, hopped on the call, and I was like, it's just an opportunity for me to, maybe take care of my family and take care of some other things and, continuously grow. Long story short, it was about a 10-minute call. And towards the end of that call, they were like, well, we need you to make a decision. Either you're staying here or you got to go. And unconsciously, maybe it was my pride, maybe it was my ego, maybe it was my heart, I'm not sure to this day, my answer was, I appreciate everything you guys have done, and I left. And that's how my entrepreneurial journey started. So fast forward to now, Blue Hammer Roofing is the name of our company. I've got some phenomenal partners who, one of them is in here today. I got a couple of my people here from the company. I appreciate you guys for showing up. I want to tell you what the first 24 months were like, and we're only 3.5 years in, but I'm going to tell you what we've accomplished. The first 24 months, all hustle, all grind. So the first 24 months, I personally spent about 12 of those months sleeping on an air mattress, chasing storms. And for those of you guys that don't know what that means that aren't in that industry, essentially what that is a storm hits Omaha, Nebraska, Del Rio, Texas, Lake Charles, Louisiana, Florida. We pack our bags, we rent out a little Airbnb, a house, and like 10, 12 of us live in that house for 100 days. And it's just simply to drive revenue. And I share that because there's no way, unless if someone's coming in with just an insane amount of money, that you'll ever go from working in your business to on your business, unless if you're ready to do those kinds of things. And for some of you guys who are already working on your business, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I've got a saying, and it's short-term sacrifice for the long-term gain. That's the name of the game. Short-term sacrifice for the long-term gain. That's the name of the game. In those 3.5 years, we've been able to accomplish a few things. Inc. 5000, which is a nationally accredited magazine. Some of you guys have probably heard about them. We were voted and named the #1 fastest growing roofing company in all of the U.S. We were named the #1 fastest growing construction company in all of the U.S. And we were ranked number 17 amongst all businesses in the U.S. So that's real estate, that's tech, that's dental, it doesn't matter. And I'm not sharing any of this stuff to brag, I promise you. That doesn't do me any good. I'm just sharing this because if I'm sitting in those chairs, I want to know who I'm listening to, because if we hadn't accomplished anything, I wouldn't be listening to me either, just so you guys know. SMU ranked us the #2 fastest growing company. Still pretty pissed off about that. We're so close to #1. It's like you'd rather just miss and be like 15th or 20th versus be #2, right? It's just shitty, sucks. But we'll come back for it this year. We won the Top Choice Roofing Company 3 years in a row, and the list goes on. And again, this isn't about the accolades. This isn't about me. I just want to give you a background of some of the things that we've been blessed to be able to accomplish. We've done about $100 million in sales over the last 3.5 years now, so blessed to be able to say that. Our team is phenomenal. We're growing. We've got over 100 guys on our team, and it's been a fun ride. So what I want to talk to you guys today is about a few different things. Again, I mentioned working in your business to on your business. I've got core principles on here. I've got deliberate recruiting, hiring, building relationships, and retention through value. Because if you can't keep people, what's the point of bringing people on board, right? Just a quick show of hands, just so I get a good idea. How many people in this room have over 10 people on staff? Beautiful, nice. Keep your hands up, please. Over 20 people on your team. Very nice. Over 30 people on your team. Beautiful. 40, 50, 60, 100, 200. Beautiful, man. We got some killers in here. Excellent. Great to you guys. So, I'm going to share something with you guys when we first started our business, right? And I know Stuman talks about this a bunch, and I'm not going to harp on it too much, but I got to hit it because it's going to lead into the next slides. We called it core principles when we first started it. We called it core values over here at Apex. And I'm going to explain it to you how it was once explained to me. I had a good friend of mine. He was a command sergeant major in the Army. We got any vets in here? Any military guys? Thank you guys for your service. Tons of respect. 25 years in the military. Never smoked a day in his life, never drank a day in his life, the highest amount of discipline. He calls me every other day and talks shit about how he did 25 miles on the bike, and just every single day, just nonstop. That's just who he is, right? And he gave me some advice that I'll never forget. And his advice to me was this. He said, listen, man, don't mess with no motherfucker with no backbone. Excuse my language. And he told me that a long time ago. And I just never forgot it. And at one point, it didn't make that much sense to me. And then I was like, you know what? Essentially what he's saying is, hey, don't associate, don't do business with, don't be friends with someone who does not have a core set of values and principles that they live by. Because under the right circumstance, they will flip on you, they will turn on you, they will take advantage of you. And I feel like the same rules apply in business. If you don't have a set of values and principles that you operate your business by, under the right circumstance, under the right opportunity for money or to do this or do that, you could potentially flip. And I think it's super critical, not only that we write them down, but we live them, we preach them, and we share them with our people. Where I got to be able to point at any one of my guys and be like, hey, what are our 5 core principles? And they can recite them off like that. And I think we should all be able to do that amongst our people. Our core principles and values are designed when shit gets bad and the going gets tough. What do you fall back on? Because if you don't have values and principles that you fall back on, what do you fall back to? Old habits, and none of us are trying to go backwards, right? And that's why it's so important to have these. It's almost like a springboard. Tough decision, values, springboard yourself back to the right decision. So there's no thinking involved. I'm going to share our 5 core principles, and I'm just going to give you a brief explanation. Look, if something applies to you or you like it, please feel free to take it. I'm not the first one to ever use these words in the English dictionary, so they're not mine. Have some fun with them. That's a picture of our team at one of our galas. Yeah, we like getting nice and fancy and things of that sort, so that's just a nice picture of us. Here's our 5 core principles, our 5 core values. Number 1, and I'm going to explain each and every single one to you. Family. Let me tell you what this means. This means, if you look at our logo at the bottom left, you see there's a circle around the H, the hammer. That's our circle of safety. That means the moment you put on our logo, our shirt, we got your back. We're going to look out for one another. Listen, this does not mean we don't argue, we don't fight, we don't disagree, and things of that sort, because you do this with your family as well, and so do I. That's not what I'm saying. But it's saying at the end of the day, we're going to look out for one another. We're going to have each other's back despite. Number 2 on that list is tough, honest love. Tough, honest love. I got this from Principles by Ray Dalio. Has anyone ever read that book before? It's an excellent book. If you haven't, jot it down. Principles by Ray Dalio. It's a very long book, but it'll actually probably help you come up with your core values and your core principles. Tough, honest love. This one's super important. I'm going to take you back to May of 2009 quick. When I first got in the fitness industry, it's my first interview ever. I met with a guy named Larry Lopez, right? Larry was this old school mafia looking dude. I still talk to him today. He's an excellent guy. And I showed up for my interview. Back in May of 2009, you couldn't tell me shit, right? I was too arrogant, wouldn't listen to nobody. I showed up to this interview, and I showed up with a mohawk, a beard. I was looking all sorts of crazy. I had some Vans on. I had I thought it was a nice shirt, but he told me in that interview it was a really shitty shirt. And he told me to go change clothes. In those exact words almost. He sat with me for 10 minutes. He's like, listen, kid, I think you got a lot of potential here. But do me a favor. Go home, go change, put on a nice shirt. And I was like, this is a nice shirt. He's like, find a nicer one. Go put on a tie. He's like, find some nice shoes. I was like, bro, Vans. He's like, find some nicer shoes. If you're serious about this, you can come meet one of the other vice presidents at a different gym. And you know what? I wanted to slap the shit out of him. That was my initial instinct. I was like, me and this dude are going to fight. And I left, and I don't know what it was. It was something in my heart, something in my mind that was like, you know what? Yeah, he's right. I'm not really looking like a professional. I went home, I changed, I did all the rest is history. I stayed there for 10 years. Imagine this. Imagine he didn't share those words with me. What if I never got a second interview? Where would my life be today? Tough, honest love is when you actually care about someone and they mean there's someone special to you. It's hard to have those conversations, but you know it's necessary. And you are almost willing to even compromise your relationship with that person only so they end up in a better position in life. It's like if your buddy's going out and drinking every night and you know it's not the right decision, and rather than supporting them and showing up every night with them, it's like, look, bro, what are you doing? You said your goals were X, Y, and Z. This is not helping you. You're losing relationships. You're hurting people. You got to have those conversations. And that's a big piece in our business. And at that point, people know not to take anything personal. Number 3 on that list is loyalty. And let me explain what this means. Loyalty is a tricky word, right? It's like respect and it's like trust. It's earned over time. You don't throw on the logo or you don't hop in a relationship and you have immediate loyalty. I don't think that's how life works. You have to earn that. And here's how loyalty works. It's tested in its darkest hour. Not when things are great. When things are great, it's easy to be happy. It's easy to be up. It's easy to be faithful. It's easy to be good. It's how do you respond when things go bad? Because that's when true character is shown, right? Not when the going is great. I do believe loyalty is a bit conditional. Let me explain what I mean. I think it is a fair exchange of value at the end of the day, whether it's in a relationship or it's in business. And what I mean by that is this. If I'm in a relationship with a woman, and if she's doing all the heavy lifting, she's doing the providing, she's doing the cleaning, she's doing the cooking, she's doing everything, and I'm doing nothing, do you think she deserves my loyalty? I'm sorry, the other way around? It's a fair exchange of value. I have to do something for her. And the same rules apply in business. At the end of the day, and I tell my people this all the time, the moment I stop adding value into your life, you should bounce. You should leave. And you know what that does? That holds me accountable to making sure I'm consistently learning, reading, coming to events like this so I can go back, take notes, and share with my people. And they can exchange and provide value in their own way. I think loyalty is a big one depending on how you define it. The 4th one for us is extreme ownership. Has anyone read this book before? It's by Jocko Willink. Yeah, it's a phenomenal read. If you have not read it, again, please pick up the book, read it. And essentially what this says, he's an ex-Navy SEAL and he's an absolute animal. If you ever listen to this dude on his podcast, he's the most intense guy on this earth. Next to David Goggins. Yeah, I know. You guys are looking at me. I was like, ah, shit, there is one other guy. Yeah, he's an animal. And extreme ownership, for those of you guys that aren't aware of the book, essentially says we own everything. We don't point any fingers at anyone. We make no excuses. If some shit goes wrong, I must own it. I must dissect it. And then I must redirect myself to ensure that I do not commit that same mistake again. Period. Because that's the only way we grow, right? And number 5 on our list is the pursuit of excellence. Pursuit of excellence. I'm going to tell you guys a quick story. 1997. This one has nothing to do with me. This one has to do with Kobe Bryant, the late, great Kobe Bryant, right? For those of you guys who are basketball fans, you don't need to know a ton, but this is his first ever playoff run with the Lakers, right? Lakers are down, and we know one thing about Kobe, he's clutch, right? If someone needs to get the ball and put it in the hoop, they need a score, you're giving the ball to Kobe 100 out of 100 times. 1997, Lakers in their first ever playoff run. Kobe gets a shot to win the game. He shoots. Anyone know what happens? Air ball. They get another opportunity. It's Kobe again. He shoots. Anyone know what happens? Air ball. They somehow tie the game and they go into overtime. This is Kobe's time, man. This is his moment. This is what he's built for. Chance to win the game. Kobe, shot. Anyone know what happens? Air ball. I'm not making this up. Fourth chance. Final chance to win the game. Ball to Kobe. Kobe shoots. We all know what happens. Air ball. They lose the game, get knocked out of the playoffs, done. They get on a flight back, and the story goes like this. He found a local high school, spent 12 hours in the gym, shooting that same jumper over and over and over, nonstop, until he mastered that shot. And one of the other big things we know about Kobe is what? His work ethic. So when you think about the pursuit of excellence, no one ever starts on top. We all have our, moments where we hit the bottom, where we don't win. We have our airball moments, but it's how do you respond to make sure you get to the top. And rest in peace to that guy. And he became arguably one of the greatest basketball players we've ever seen in our life. That's pursuit of excellence for us. Now we got our core values. Now we got our core principles. And I'm going to tell you why that was so important and why I wanted to run through that. When we're talking about recruiting and hiring, you got to be very specific on who you want to attract. Because if you don't know who you want to attract, what are you going for? You just kind of like shooting aimlessly. You got to have a target. We sit down when we do interviews, I'm sharing all of those 5 core principles I just ran through with you, because one of 2 things is going to happen. Either you're going to be extremely motivated and realize, wow, these guys are in alignment with who I want to be, I'm in. Or, you know what's going to happen? They're going to be scared shitless and they'll never come back like, oh, these guys are too intense. That wasn't my guy or gal anyway. Perfect. So I like to be very deliberate. And deliberate means, conscious and intentional with your hiring. So I want to talk about 2 different styles of hiring. You've got indirect, which is through social media. And then you've got direct, which is face-to-face, F to F. There's a book by Simon Sinek called Start With Why. Just a quick show of hands. We got some good readers in here, man. That's phenomenal. I think that's one of the biggest differences between the people that win and the people that don't make it. The people that don't make it don't realize that these are books. These are like having mentors in written form. That's all it is. They are writing everything that they've acquired and learned over an extended period of time to share with you and the masses. Just listen to what they have to say. It's in writing already. Some of the best stuff is out there. In this book, he shares a story. And in this story, it's about a bunch of sailors, and it's about one sailor specifically who set out to find the free world. And he's the captain of the ship. And he puts out an article in the news. And he says, we're looking for sailors, low pay, you may die, you may get hypothermia, we don't know what the outcome is. But if you're interested, please respond to this letter. I want you guys to think about that for a second. What did he just do? He set a standard, he set an expectation, and he was very deliberate because he knew he did not want to attract the men or women that were going to complain when it got too cold, or were going to complain about pay, or were going to get all worked up about the little things. It was people who were ready to commit their lives to a greater cause. So I want you guys to think about that for a second. We hire a lot of 1099, right? Salespeople. And if you guys don't know roofing, we go knock doors for a living. When it's hot, when it's cold, it doesn't matter. And if you think you're only going to sell people on pay, commission pay, and no base pay, you're sadly mistaken. You got to attract a very specific individual that understands this is going to be tough. It's going to be an insane amount of work. It's going to be hot. It's going to be cold. There's going to have ups and downs. However, at the end, they could change their lives forever. One of the lines that I share next is, what are you posting on social media in terms of attracting who you want to attract? I've seen both. I've seen companies that post nothing but their culture and it's high fives and giggles and all the rest of it, and that's cool. I've seen companies that all they do is post checks, like 20 grand checks, 50 grand checks, this could be you, and that's cool. I think you got to have both, and I'm going to tell you why. If all you post is the money, what kind of individual do you think you're going to attract? Let's be real. That's it, which is great. Look, I want people that are money hungry. But if that's the only thing that's attracting you, do you know what's going to happen over a period of time? Say that again? Absolutely. That's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to come on board. They're going to make their money. They're going to do what they got to do. And then you know what happens? They're going to get an offer from a neighboring company and be like, hey, we'll pay you this much more in commissions. Hey, we'll do this much less. And you know what they do without thinking twice? They bounce. They leave. They go chase that next opportunity. This is literally the equivalent to me posting nothing but all the fancy things I own in this life. It's like, oh, the Lamborghini, the Rolex, the house, whatever. And then being surprised that I can never get a good woman that's actually interested in me because she's only after one thing. It's the same exact thing. I do think you should show some of the money, but I think the bigger piece should be your team's culture. And are they bought into that? Is that attractive for them? Do they see that and like, you know what? I want to be a part of that. Because guys, I'm going to tell you something that a lot of people don't admit, but we all want to be a part of something that's greater than ourselves, right? I mean, think about it. People join gangs. For what? To be a part of something greater than themselves. People are willing to give their lives up. People join the military. People do all these things. We joined Apex just to be a part of something greater than us, right? If you can't create that for your people, you're missing out. You're missing out on something super vital. Your culture will take you a long way. At this moment, I'm blessed to say that the majority of our team was hired and recruited. You know by who? Other members on our team. Just about everyone in here sells a service or a product, yeah? What's the best compliment a customer can give you? A referral. What do you think the best compliment an employee can give you? A referral, another employee. Remember that. You want to know if you're taking care of your people and you're being solid to them and you're giving them a foundation to create a bright future. Just see if they're bringing on other people, if they're telling their friends about it, if they're posting about it, if they're really bought in. That's how you know. And when they start building your business for you, that's when you know you're on it. You're doing something right. You carry on with the social media stuff, and then what you'll see is they'll start carrying on with the social media stuff, and now there's 50 of us, 100 of us all doing the same thing, getting people. Direct face-to-face recruiting. I want you guys to jot this down. Every encounter is an opportunity to recruit. Every encounter is an opportunity to recruit. You could be furniture shopping, talk to a guy, gal doing sales, you like them, exchange numbers. You could be out at the car dealership. You could be at a nice restaurant. Someone provides you excellent service. We're all in the business of taking care of customers, aren't we? Don't we want people that are great with customer service? Easy. I've got a saying, and our goal here is to poke a hole in the bubble. Let me explain what I mean by this. This may sound a little bit crazy, so let me kind of explain. Here's what I believe. I believe that over 90% of the world are in jobs that they absolutely hate. They work for people that they absolutely despise or do not trust, or have coworkers that they just, don't trust that guy. And everyone's looking for a way out to find something that's going to give them meaning, give them purpose, and be a part of something that's greater than them. And I think these people are in a bubble. And your goal here is to find 2 to 3 places where you can poke a hole in the bubble. And let me tell you what I mean. What I mean by that is this. You need to create an opportunity for just one person at that company. And I'll give you a couple places where we go recruit from directly. And you're more than welcome to hop in there as well. I come from the fitness industry, so fitness industry people, they're used to what I just told you, long hours, hard work, discipline, accountability, etc. Great people to recruit. High-end servers, phenomenal. Not like Applebee's, no disrespect to Applebee's. I used to eat there. But I'm talking about the nice high-end restaurants. Do you know why? Yeah, they have to provide the highest level of service because a lot of their business turns into recurring business, meaning I've got regulars. I took care of this young man over here, and he liked me so much. Now he hits me up every time he wants a table. I want those guys on my team. And if I can get one, just one from a business, especially if it's a high-level guy, let me tell you what happens. One guy escapes the bubble, and do you know what everyone else in that restaurant is doing? They're watching. They're watching to see how that guy does. And you know what happens if he wins? Yeah, the bubble is now poked. They can now see outside. And now they're like, okay, there is a path. And they just follow that guy. So you need to find at least 2 places, if not 3, that are places where you want to poke bubbles, and that's your new recruiting or fishing hole, if you will. You guys with me? Does that make sense? Excellent. When I'm hiring sales, one of the questions I ask people, especially if they're a high-level recruit, like let's say I'm going to hire one of the best sales guys at the furniture store, at the car dealership. It's not as simple as me saying, hey, bro, you want a job? You know what he's going to say? Got one. Appreciate it. Nope. I'm making 100K, 200K, whatever. There's an indirect line you hit him with, and here's that line. You can hit them with your story. Hey, man, we run one of the biggest roofing companies. We're doing this, we're doing that, et cetera, et cetera. Do you know anyone like you? Do you know why we say that? They do select themselves. And you know what they first start thinking? Yeah, why? Or I'm like me. Say that one more time louder, please. Correct. And I'm going to tell you guys this. Top-level guys, you're going to have to work them for a while. Because you don't want a guy who's ready to jump like that anyway. Because you know why? Yeah, they'll jump again. You don't want someone like that. You want to take your time with these people. Go back in. If it's the server at the restaurant that's solid, make sure you tip them well. Make sure you bring your team in so he gets a chance to see the culture or she gets the chance. Do these little things where damn, these guys are living good. What do you do? Yeah, I figured, man, you're the top guy here anyway. You wouldn't really be that interested. Well, what is it? That's a buying question. That's a buying question. That means I now have your interest. Your interest. That does not mean you're all in yet. I'll be back. I'll continue to, water this plant. I'll be back. That's how you're going to get the top level guys. When I sit down and I do an interview with these guys, specifically when it comes to sales guys and gals, I'm doing a few things. One, I want to make sure that I like this person and I feel like a level of trust there. Do you know why? Because they're about to put on their best performance ever in an interview. And I want to actually hire you. So imagine they're going to go put on their best performance in front of a customer, and that customer actually wants to buy. And if they can't sell me on themselves, which should be the greatest product they ever sell, how will they ever sell a roof? Or a house, or whatever you sell? I'm making sure I like them and I'm making sure I trust them because I know exactly what my customers are looking for. Knowledge-wise, I can train you. Sales-wise, I can train you. I just got to make sure I like you. Are you smiling in the interview? Are you happy? You got good energy to you? Because that's what the customer is going to be feeling. When I'm hiring for operations, I want to leave you guys with this tip. I'm not really looking for like and trust as much. And this obviously depends on the role that I'm hiring for. But here's what I do with operations people, and this isn't to sound crazy, but I figure out a way to meet them in the parking lot. I'm going to tell you guys why. I purposely won't give them full directions to how to come inside the building, and I'll go find and I'll go greet them at their car. Does anyone know why I'm doing that? I want to see what level of organization is that car. For operations, I know it sounds crazy, but you got to do what you got to do. People lie in interviews, right? But you can't lie about if your car is dirty. And I'm not saying once in a while it can't be dirty, but if you're showing up, we've got a girl in the back, and I did this with her, and she doesn't know this. Her name is Lenny. She's the one with the hat on back there, just in case you guys are wondering who that is. She's got her car was so clean. She had a little trash bag in the back, on the back of her seat. And it's little pieces of trash in there. That's what I want, because you're meticulous with detail and you will not let the little things slide, and your workspace has to be clean. That means your Excel spreadsheets will be clean. That means our business will be clean. That means our accounting will be clean. How you do anything is how you do everything. Pay attention to the small details. I'm going to share with you guys one other tip on recruiting and hiring. I'm not going to give you interview questions. You guys don't need that. You guys are great at that. You guys are building teams. That's not what this is for. But these are 3 questions I ask myself, and you should also ask yourself. 1, again, sales, can I see myself buying from this person? Meaning, do I like them? Do I trust them? Do I feel comfortable with them? Because again, they're putting on their best show, selling their best product. If they suck here, I don't know if I'm really going to give them too many shots outside in the field. Number 2, can I see this person getting promoted or moving up? I don't want to hire people that are going to be corks in our system. Do you guys know what I mean by a cork? I mean, they're going to slow the progress down of others. Here's something I've learned the hard way. Lazy people will kill a working culture. They will. Because your hardworking people will look and be like, the hell we got this guy on for? He sucks. He's not working. He's lazier. She doesn't do anything. Meanwhile, I'm over here busting my ass, knocking on doors, getting on roofs, doing this, doing that. And you know what these lazy people do along the way? They drag others down with them. Misery loves company, right? Bro, why are you working so hard? Let's go grab a drink. Why are you doing that? Number 3 on that list is, would I invite this person over to a dinner with my family 6 months or 6 years from now? And that pretty much is just about trust. Do I trust this person enough? And I'm not saying I'm going to invite them over next week. I said 6 months or 6 years from now. Do they give me that feeling where they are someone that holds values and is strong-minded and is principled and disciplined, where I can bring around my family? If not, why would I want them in my business? That's also my family. Because if they're not a good look in my family, in my home, they're not a good look in my business either. And these are just 3 quick questions I like to ask myself. Now you brought them on board. Now they're a part of your team. This is going to be, if there's one thing you take away from here today, these next couple slides are going to be some of the most important ones. It's building relationships and connecting with your people. And I'm going to share a couple tips and a couple stories with you guys. I'm going to start off with a story when I finally became an executive vice president. This was February of 2019. It's the role that I've been working for 9.5 years. Got into the position, and I had, just so everyone understands the hierarchy, I was the executive vice president. I had 3 district vice presidents underneath me, and each one of them had about 12 managers, 12 gyms underneath them. You guys with me? I'm sharing that for a reason. My first order of operations was this. We're not talking about numbers. We're not talking about goals. We're not talking about anything. I had 20 questions that I had sent out to them, that I'd emailed to them and printed off for them. And I told them, before we go into anything else, I need you to connect with your people. Because until you can connect with people, you can't influence them. What's the old saying? People don't know how much you know until they know how much you care. So my first motive intention was go connect with your people. So I said, hey, don't make this weird. Don't make this a questionnaire, but you need to figure out like their wife's name, their husband's name, their dog's name, their kids' names. I need you to get as much data on that person as you can. But don't do it like, hey, what's your wife's name? Like, not like that. Go connect. Go build a relationship. And then take notes along the way. So then next time I go see that person or they go see that manager, it's not like, hey, how's your son? It's, hey, how's Johnny doing? We got parents in here, yeah? What's the difference between someone saying, hey, how's your son doing versus, hey, how's Billy doing? It's a difference. Meaning you took at least enough time of your day to remember my kid's name. And one thing I know about parents, their kids are their pride and joy. And when someone cares about their kids the same way they do, or actually asks, it's a difference maker in their eyes. So I asked all the VPs to do that. One VP did it a little bit differently. I got an email from one of his managers, and it was to his boss, the VP, and I'm his boss. And he sent it to him. He says, hey, boss, here's answers to the questions that you had sent over to me. And he copied me on the email. I sat down with this VP. I'm like, I made it super clear. That was not the intention of this, to go fill out a questionnaire. I asked you to go in there and connect with these people, build relationships. Why the hell would you do that? You know what it told me about this person? Yeah, no doubt there's some laziness. They weren't interested in connecting with people. They were interested in themselves. I'm the VP now. I've made it. I've arrived. Let me dress up nice, show you what's up. Hey, don't do this, don't do that. Peace, head out. They were more interested in playing boss than actually building relationships and helping people grow. And I didn't demote this person immediately. We gave him another 90 days. He continuously did the same thing, never built relationships, was never around, didn't give a shit. It was as clear as day. Ended up demoting him. He ended up leaving and getting fired. Valuable lesson learned. It's a picture of our team there again. We live by this saying, and maybe some of you guys have heard it before, but there's no such thing as business problems, just personal problems that roll into the business, right? Have you guys heard that before, or a variation of that? 9 times out of 10, it's what people have going on in their personal lives that affects their work performance. It's that simple. And the moment you can grasp that concept, you will realize that this isn't Space Jam, right? If you guys have seen the original Space Jam, those guys touch that basketball and what happens? They lose their ability to hoop, right? That's not what this is. Something happened in their personal life that affected their work performance. It's simple. Maybe they lost someone in the family. Maybe they, got out of a heartbreaking relationship. Maybe their kid's sick. Could be a gazillion reasons. Meanwhile, all we want to talk about is performance and numbers and data, which no doubt is important, but check up on them first. Make sure they're good up here. I'm a big believer in what we do. 80% is psychology and 20% is mechanics. I'm going to say that again. 80% is psychology and 20% is mechanics. If you can get inside people's head and influence their thinking, you can influence the way that they work and the way they operate in their personal lives, et cetera, et cetera. The list goes on. I've got a Venn diagram to kind of show you guys the importance of why. Coming up in the fitness industry, we used to call it an X factor. And an X factor was this. When a customer would come in, it was your duty to figure out what was their pain point? What was their true X factor? If someone came in and said, hey, I wanted to lose 15 pounds, that's not their X factor. Why do you want to lose those 15 pounds? Look, I'm single again. I want to make sure I have washboards ab. I want to look good at the beach. I want to make sure I can attract another partner again. Look, I just had a baby. My confidence is super low. I want to drop these 15, 20 pounds of baby weight so I can feel good again. That's someone's X factor. The same thing applies in business. If I ask someone, hey, why are you on our team? Got to make money, man. You know how it is. Is that their X factor? Their X factor could be, look, man, I got a little baby at home. I got a wife. I want to make sure I can give them the best life possible. maybe they came up from a shitty upbringing, and maybe they've got a chip on their shoulder. They're trying to prove everything to their family that they no longer talk to, and they've got something really they got to prove. Maybe they come from dark places. You got to figure out what is their why. Because, guys, I'm going to tell you guys something. There's a phenomenal book, and it's called 13 Fatal Errors That Managers Make and How You Can Avoid Them. And it talks about electrical fences. Has anyone heard of that term before? Electric fences. And essentially what it is this. The reference in the book is to cattle. And they put up these electric fences so the cattle don't escape. Over time, what they actually end up doing is they turn off the electricity. Do you know what happens with the cows? Do you think they escape? I know you know. That is a pre-existing barrier, a pre-existing limitation put in their mind due to adverse situations, trauma, history, and the list goes on. Do you believe our people also have those electrical fences in their minds? 100%, because we do too, right? If you can't identify those electrical fences, how can you effectively help them overcome those barriers and pre-existing limitations? You can't. There's no way. But if you connect, they'll share with you. They'll let you know. And it ain't one meeting. Sometimes it's 10 meetings. Some people, the first time you meet them, they're just ready to give it all to you. Beautiful. Easy. I can work with you quick. And sometimes, man, people are so hurt and heartbroken and trust nobody. You got to show them 10 times over how valuable and how trustworthy you are just for them to listen and give you time of day. And that's okay. Because those guys and gals, those are some of the sharpest, hardest working people, and they will run through a wall for you once you get their trust. That's one thing I've learned over the years. You got to figure out their why. If you aren't in their head, someone else is. Let me tell you what I mean by that. If you aren't constantly influencing their thinking, helping them grow and do things of that sort, and constantly touching them here, there, every week, every other day, you know who else is in their head? Could be their parents. Could be their woman, boyfriend, girlfriend's like, babe, you're working so much. Like, why don't you come home early? Why don't you come back home a little bit earlier? Come back for dinner. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if he's trying to make a good living and he's trying to set up for his family, is that helpful or is that hurtful? It can hurt a little bit along the way. And if it's not him or her in that person's mind or head, maybe it's a different company. Look, man, I don't know why you keep working over there, bro, because, man, we could give you X, Y, and Z, and this package is so much better. Trust me, man, it's nothing like that company there. And 9 times out of 10, what's the reality of that situation? We know what it is. That's it. Broken promises. You got to be in their head. This guy, you guys have heard of Andrew Tate, right? He turned out to be the most Googled man in the world. I'm not here to talk about what he talks on. That's not the point of this. But does anyone know his audience? A lot of dudes. 18 to 35 years old. Men. Young boys. And here's the thing. Do you know what my target audience is and who we hire? Dudes, 18 to 35. So what does that tell you? That tells you there are millions and millions and millions of young men looking for guidance, looking for someone to show them the way, teach them how to be a man, how to carry themselves, how to make money, how to excel in life. And they're just looking for somebody. And they rather trust a dude on the internet before they trust me or you. Imagine that. Everyone's looking to be a part of something greater than themselves, and they're looking for the way. And if they can trust this dude on the internet that they've never met, then how come they can't trust you or I? Something to think about, right? So here's another big piece, and I'm going to start wrapping this up. You've hired them now. You've been training them. You've been connecting with them. You've got a relationship built with them. They're your people now. Now comes one of the most difficult challenges. How do you retain them? Not after the first 90 days, right? We go into a relationship with somebody, it's honeymoon. First year, honeymoon. It's all good. What do you do after that first year, especially if it's a top performer? What do you do year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5? Because at a certain point, you don't think they're going to have offers? You're sadly mistaken if you think they're just looking at you and you only. They got people hitting them up on Instagram. I just showed you guys the play that I run. They got offers left and right, man. Here's what I've learned about people in terms of keeping them. You got to add value. And again, I say this all the time to my people. The moment I stop adding value to your life, you can leave. You have every right to leave. And again, that's designed because that's going to force me to level up and study and be a part of these events over and over and over again. I broke this down into an acronym. And I'm going to run through each letter quick. What does it mean to add value? It means a lot of things. The V stands for vision. Guys, if we're not sharing the vision every week, every month, every encounter that we have, how will they know where they fit in the big picture? Because if you can't share that vision, that means you may not quite possibly have a vision. And would you follow someone that did not have a vision? When you're having these conversations with people, you're having these lunches, you're having these meetings, you got to constantly be talking about what the future looks like with your suppliers, with anyone you do business with, so everybody knows you are the real deal. And they see, okay, here's where I could plug in. Here's what I can be. Because if they don't see a vision, do you know what's going to happen? They're going to think in their minds they have zero opportunity for growth. They ain't going nowhere, and neither is this company. I need to go find something else, man. That's just how people think. They're going to protect themselves, and rightfully so. But if you're constantly showing, hey, we're here, we're going to do private equity, we're going to grow into 20 different states, and then after that, we're going to have VPs here, and then that's going to create market partners here, and then everyone will have a 20-man team. And oh, shit, that's super clear. I know where I want to be in that. Share the vision as often as possible. There's no such thing as sharing too much vision. I promise you. Keep doing it. This one is one that I've struggled with a lot over the years. There's a study that was done, and it talks about the biggest reason why people leave their employer. Does anyone know what that is? Recognition and appreciation. Money was number 5. Number 2 is respect to and from the boss. Imagine that. Money's number 5. Number 1 was recognition, appreciation. And again, this is one that I've struggled with over the years, and I'll tell you why. I've struggled with it because in my mind, everyone should be working as hard as I am. I shouldn't have to motivate you, and this and that. Wrong. You know why that's wrong? Because if everyone was like me, then there would be no need for me. Simple as that. If everyone was like me, there would be no need for me. It's the little things that we say, it's the little things that we do to show people we appreciate them. And any opportunity you get to show someone, little things, they add up. L is leadership development. If you are not developing leaders, you will never have exponential growth. Here's linear growth, here's exponential growth, like a hockey stick, right? If you are not fostering and creating a culture where leaders are being developed, you'll always be working in your business. And what are we here to do? Work on our business, right? And you can only do that by developing other leaders to help you with the cause. The only way it gets done. What do I mean by that? The smallest things. Teach them how to hold people accountable. We do one meeting a week. Every Wednesday, 9 a.m., I'm finding a topic, and we're either training on a book, we're teaching people how to hold people accountable, how to set team goals. We're teaching the big stuff, the small stuff, anything leadership related, what it means to be the example. We talk about a lot of that in Apex, right? If people knew these answers already, a lot of times they do it. A lot of people have no idea what it really means to be a leader. Pick a book, train on a chapter a week. It doesn't matter. But if you are showing them that you are making a conscious effort to help them grow, you're going to be just fine. You got to invest in your leaders. Take them out to nice dinners. Do the little things for them so they feel like they're part of a special group. LeBron James wants to feel like LeBron James. He doesn't want to feel like that sixth man off the bench, does he? You think your leaders want to feel like everyone else on the team? Of course not. They want to feel special. They're taking on additional work, responsibility, pay. Show them the little things. Develop them. It's the best gift you can give them. The U is for university. Listen, there's a lot of our people that have never even picked up a book in their life. We read books every 2 months. We read 6 books last year as a company. But that's not all I mean by university. How many people feel like they're really good at doing taxes in this room? Just a quick show of hands. So we got like a few of us, right? So think about this for a second. And you guys run the business. How many of your guys and gals do you think know how to do taxes? University. We've brought in people from Apex, and that's one of the beautiful things about the network. You can bring someone in from this group to help give your people game. You're not even doing it yourself. You just set it up. You're just the plug. We've had people come in, train on mortgages. Who feels great about mortgages and talking about interest rates and how that whole thing works? 1, 2, 3. So how many of your people do you think, you guys get where I'm going with this? All of this stuff, I'm not even saying you need to learn and study yourself. All I'm simply saying is figure out ways where you can make your business a university where people are constantly learning, they're constantly growing. Because one thing I've learned over the years, if they're constantly learning and growing, they ain't going nowhere because they realize there is a need for you. The moment they realize there's no need for you, that's when they start looking out the window. But where else are they going to find all these resources? Got to keep delivering. You got to keep delivering, and you cannot stop. The list goes on. Most of our guys don't even know how to go find a realtor, a good realtor. You could be the resource. Just remember this line. Your business must be a university. You must be teaching them on how to buy their first home, and the list goes on. The E is empower. You got to empower your people, and I want to tell you what I mean by that. When you're empowering your people, that means you're essentially sharing your power with them. You were saying, hey, I trust you with the decision-making power. Here you go. You have effectively empowered your people now. You must also build them up in front of their people. One of the worst things in the world you can do is reprimand in public. Don't ever reprimand your people in public. They will build a false sense of resentment, or maybe even a true sense of resentment towards you and the business, and they'll leave. Believe me on that. I've made that mistake before. The saying goes like this: praise in public, reprimand in private. Praise in public, build them up. And then when you got to talk to them about some private stuff, pull them to the side, go have that one-on-one chat with them, give them that respect, and carry on. But you got to empower them to make decisions. Because one of the biggest mistakes we make as business owners, we don't trust nobody. You know why? 1, some of us probably been burnt in the past, right? 2, we think we do everything better than everyone else, don't we? It's a mistake we all make. I'm going to tell you something. You don't. And neither do I. And the quicker you realize that, the quicker your business will grow. If you still think you are the best at doing every little thing in your business, you got a long ways to go. But if you've identified at this point, you know what? There are people that are more talented than me, and truthfully, I can't do this shit forever at this same pace. You go trust people and you go empower people to make some of these decisions and help you grow your business. Any questions on that stuff? Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm going to wrap this up real quick.
I missed what that book, I'm sorry. First of all, a wonderful presentation, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time, brother.
Absolutely.
What was the last book where you're talking about electrical sensitivity? What was the name of that book?
It's called 13 Fatal Errors That Managers Make and How You Can Avoid Them.
That's a mouthful.
And if you just type in 13 Fatal Errors by Stephen M. Brown, that'll give you the answer you're looking for.
13 Fatal Errors?
Yep, Stephen M. Brown. Yeah, absolutely. It's a great book. It's a phenomenal read.
Hey, thanks for the talk. That was exceptional. What was your biggest lesson from going from LA Fitness to building an absolute empire with Blue Hammer?
It's a great question. I learned a lot of things. The biggest thing that I learned is you can't do this alone. You can't. I don't care how good you are, how smart you are, how hard you work. You cannot do this alone. And with the right people, what is it, Jim Collins says it, the right people on the right bus and the right seats, I believe you can accomplish whatever the hell you want to accomplish. Conversely, you got the wrong people on the bus, you're screwed. But invest in your people, invest in how you bring them on, invest in keeping them, and straight up, our people have helped us build our business. It ain't me. They've done the majority of our recruiting. They've helped us revamp our systems, grow our business. It ain't me. Yes, sir.
Hey man, appreciate your talk. That was amazing. Great information. So you've taken a business and you've grown it to amazing. The Inc. 5000, Inc. 500, all those great accomplishments. So for a lot of us that are starting businesses, maybe it's our first, maybe it's a few in, but we're seeing that growth curve that you're a little bit ahead of us. If you had an extra 100 grand in your business or $1 million, wherever you're at, where would you spend that? Like, what strategic places would you spend that money to continue to grow that business?
That's an excellent question. I've got kind of a long answer for you, but I'm gonna try to make it as quick as quick as I can. I want you guys to jot this down quick. Write down STAR, STAR. It's an acronym, and I'm gonna give it to you quick, and I'll tell you exactly what I would do personally. S stands for structure, T stands for technical, A stands for action-oriented, R stands for relationships. Structure, technical, action-oriented, relationships. You got to figure out what you are in that mix, and you need to figure out, okay, I really suck at the technical stuff, and I need to have a technical person on staff. Find that person, spend some money on them. If you're super structured, but you're not action-oriented, you need someone who's going to get your people moving. You're going to get your business moving, who's not going to spend too much time, studying who's not going to get stuck in that analysis paralysis. They're going to be like, all right, we got to get going. If you're not that relationship person, you need to bring someone who keeps that team tight, man. So to answer your question, I don't know where you're at, but I make my decisions based off that. I know what I'm good at and I know what I'm lacking at. And what I'm lacking at, I ain't going to get better with, immediately, but I can pay someone for that. Hopefully that helps.
All right, last question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I had a quick question because we've talked a lot about hiring and stuff. What's your take on it when you do hire somebody? Because like you said, they're kind of presenting their best self during the interview. So do you usually give them a chance and say, let's get on, let's see what the 30, 60, 90 days looks like, and then kind of make a final decision on them? Or do you you're more selective at the beginning before you bring them on?
We are very selective. I will say this, though. Who does the best interviews? No doubt, but it's also people who've been interviewing for an extended period of time. It's a skill. There's some people, man, they're great in the interview, right? But it's because they've done so many. So I'm asking a lot of questions about their personal life. I'm asking a lot of questions about how they'd handle certain situations. And I'm just paying attention to like the nonverbals, right? Like one of the questions I like to ask is, tell me about you. And if you respond with I, what is that potentially telling me? Maybe you're a little bit selfish. It's all about you. Okay, but I'll test that. Hey, tell me about a team or time you played on a team. And if it starts off again with, well, I did this and I was the captain, so how are you going to fit into my family culture? So I am a little bit tough on these interviews, but look, we're never right. 90 days. 90 days, whatever character you've put on will not be able to sustain. It's the same thing in a relationship, right? You hop in a new relationship, you're the best you for the next 90, you open the doors all the time, you buy the flowers and you do this and you do that. After 90, are you still doing that? You can only pretend to be a certain way for so long, and then the true colors will be shown. 90 is my mark, though. Great question. Guys, there's my social media. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to always hit me up on there. I'll tell you this, and I'll wrap this thing up. If you have a good, strong set of core principles and values that drive you in your business, you're deliberate, you're intentional with your recruiting, You do a phenomenal job at building connections and relationships with your people, and then you retain them by adding value day in, day out. When you ask yourself the question every single day, how am I going to add value today? You will be one step closer to working on your business versus being in your business. Thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it.